Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Please subscribe and hit the bell icon. Here's why Vicki Gunvalson will never forgive Bravo. Vicki Gunvalson has vowed to never forgive Bravo for something that happened during her time on The Real Housewives of Orange County. It's a moment that RHOC fans will never forget, either. During season 10 of The Real Housewives of Orange County, Vicki learned that her mother, Joanne Steinmetz, passed away while cameras were rolling. No, that was not how Vicki had planned or hoped to learn of her mother's death, but thanks to production, that's how it played out. Vicki looks back on that day and the trauma it caused her in Vice's The Dark Side of Reality TV series. People magazine was given a first-look preview at the show, where Vicki put Bravo on blast for how her mother's death was handled. Vicki Gunvalson will never forgive Bravo. According to People, Vicki reveals she and other RHOC cast members were playing bunco at Shannon Beater's house when she learned her mother died. Vicki's children tried to reach her, but when she didn't answer, her daughter Brianna contacted production. Brianna had been calling, and they kept telling her, "Well, she's filming right now, blah, blah, blah. She's like, I need to talk to my mom right now," Vicki recalled. The reality TV star shared that production finally gave in, but not until after a room in Shannon's house was set up with lights and cameras to film the moment. Vicki was rightfully upset that production knew of her mother's passing an hour before Vicki did. Instead of filming it, Vicki feels production should have taken her aside and let her speak to her daughter privately to process the news her mother had died. "Let me scream and cry on my own and be mad. It was very, very traumatic. I will never forgive Bravo for that," she expressed. When does Dark Side of Reality TV air and which other Real Housewives stars are in it? Vice's Dark Side of Reality TV is exactly as it sounds, with each episode focused on a certain franchise in the reality TV world. Survivor, Hell's Kitchen, and The Surreal Life are a few of the shows that have been featured on the Dark Side of Reality TV to date. On Tuesday, October 29, the Vice series will focus on the downside of appearing on one of the Real Housewives shows. Aviva Drescher from RHONY, The Real Housewives of Atlanta star Cynthia Bailey, and Vicki's former RHOC co-star Gina Keogh are also part of the Vice series. Vicki Gunvalson has set the record straight on how she feels about the way Bravo handled, informing her that her mother died during RHOC season 10. The OG of the OC, Vicki Gunvalson, was once Bravo royalty. A founding member of the Real Housewives of Orange County, Vicki didn't just bring the drama, she defined it. From legendary feuds to tears, laughter, and everything in between, Vicki's decade-plus run on the show felt like an endless roller coaster. But recently, after her unexpected exit from the franchise, rumors have swirled that Vicki holds a grudge against the network she helped put on the map. As far as the former OC queen is concerned, Bravo might as well be left in the past. So what went wrong? In Vicki's eyes, her history with Bravo is a long one, brimming with loyalty, sacrifices, and moments that still haunt her. Vicki always believed that she was indispensable to the franchise, pouring her life, soul, and family into RHOC. When she first joined the show, she had no idea how much it would reshape her world, and not always for the better. Despite the glamour of reality TV fame, there was a dark side. Being on Bravo's radar meant every corner of her life was scrutinized, from her relationships to her finances, in ways that were sometimes merciless. She signed on to reveal her life, and she did, but the fallout was far more than she'd ever imagined. Over the years, the network evolved, and so did its direction for RHOC. The earlier seasons felt like an authentic look into the lives of Orange County housewives, but as the show's success grew, the demand for heightened drama grew louder. Vicki sensed the pressure to create scenes that were more sensational, and though she was willing to play along, it sometimes backfired spectacularly. Who could forget the infamous cancer scam storyline with her then-boyfriend, Brooks Ayers? In hindsight, Vicki feels this was Bravo's moment of betrayal, setting the wheels in motion for her eventual split from the network. Vicki has spoken about the toll that particular storyline took on her life, and she holds Bravo partly responsible for pushing her into situations that compromised her integrity. Though she takes accountability for her choices, she still feels that the show's producers painted her in a way that made her appear complicit in Brooks' lies about having cancer. She recalls how painful it was to watch her name dragged through the mud, knowing it impacted her business, friendships, and even her relationship with her children. According to Vicki, Bravo didn't just want a real housewife, they wanted a storyline, whatever the cost. The real heartbreak for Vicki was that Bravo seemed unfazed by how deeply that storyline cut into her personal life. She recalls confronting producers at the time, hoping to salvage her reputation, but felt her concerns were dismissed as part of the reality TV package. For Vicki, it was a brutal wake-up call. No one, not the producers, not the fans, not even her castmates, had her back when she needed it most. For someone who had sacrificed so much for the show, it was a crushing blow. Still, Vicki held on, hoping her loyalty would eventually be rewarded. Then came what she now calls the ultimate betrayal. After all she had done to keep RHO City running strong, Bravo's decision to demote her to a friend of the Housewives role in 2019 felt like an insult. Vicki was devastated. She felt stripped of her title, her throne, her legacy. She wasn't just a housewife, she was the OG, the one who started it all. The demotion was a punch to the gut, especially when she had invested years of her life in the franchise. "I didn't ask to be a friend," she once said bitterly in an interview. "I gave them everything and they cast me aside like I was nothing." The final nail in the coffin came with her official exit after season 14. For Vicki, the writing was on the wall. She wasn't Bravo's darling anymore, and her dream of ending her run on her own terms was dead. The pain lingered, made worse by what Vicki perceived as Bravo's indifference to her legacy. She recalls the farewell messages she hoped to receive but never did and the cold silence that followed her departure. For Vicki, it felt like a calculated move by Bravo to distance themselves from her after years of being one of their most loyal stars. They moved on to fresh faces, younger drama, and a different flavor of Orange County chaos, leaving Vicki out in the cold. Now, several years later, Vicki looks back on her time with Bravo with a mix of nostalgia and resentment. There's an undeniable gratitude for the platform and the fans who supported her through the years, but her bitterness toward Bravo remains. She's spoken about how the network capitalized on her most vulnerable moments, her rocky relationships, and her biggest missteps, only to dispose of her when the allure wore off. According to insiders, she's been open with friends about how Bravo's treatment of her felt callous and exploitative. Some sources close to her say she has no desire to work with Bravo again unless they acknowledge her contributions and treat her with the respect she believes she deserves. Recently, Vicki took her feelings public, discussing the betrayal in interviews and subtly shading Bravo on social media. While she's found success outside of RHOC, building her Kodo insurance empire and enjoying new relationships, the pain of her Bravo years lingers. The memories of her years as the OG of the OC are tinged with pride but also deep hurt. Vicki feels Bravo owes her an apology, not just for her exit, but for the way they handled her storylines and used her life for ratings without regard for the personal toll it took. In her heart, Vicki Gunvalson may never forgive Bravo, but she will always be grateful for the legacy she's created. Whether or not the network acknowledges it, Vicki knows her contributions to the Real Housewives of Orange County are unmatched. She's proud of her journey, her resilience, and her willingness to be herself on camera, flaws and all. And in her eyes, that legacy will stand long after Bravo's cameras stop rolling.